Welcome to another edition of Real, Raw, and Honest. So glad that you can be with me today. We've been taking the last several weeks just to talk about anxiety, talk about fear of failure, fear of the unknown, that kind of thing, fear of the future, what's it going to hold, fear of health issues, that kind of stuff. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you a couple questions so that you can kind of settle in yourself. How are you doing? How are you managing? How do you know if this is actually a struggle for you? Because, like I said before, when you grow up in that environment where you have no place to be able to have a conversation, nobody's going to walk you through how you should handle things, there's not a healthy environment that you're growing up in. What do you do with the feelings when things start to go amok? When maybe you're at a job and you are afraid that they said they're going to start laying people off, and you're afraid it's going to be you. How do you handle the, oh my goodness, I don't feel well? What's wrong with me? How do you handle the fear of the future? There's lots of scenarios that I can give you in that, but like to take a look at it and go, how do I know? So the first question I'm going to ask you is this. It's like, how much do you, or maybe I should say, how willing are you to experience the uncomfortable thoughts and feelings without trying to immediately avoid or suppress them? That's a big question, bigger than what I think we would like to give it merit. The reality is that is a number one to avoid at all cost. When things start to feel uncomfortable, when the thoughts start to come racing in, when there's a lot of things going on, our first thought is I need to get away from it as fast as possible. I don't want to think about it, or I'll think about it when I have to think about it. I don't want to have to deal with it right now. So I'm going to go out with some friends. I'm going to pick up a bottle because I'm stressed. I'm going to, play games all night on my phone or my computer. I'm going to scroll through Facebook for hours on end. What do we do? How comfortable are you with the thoughts, right? With the feelings that you're feeling when something is going on? Because that'll tell you how well you're doing. Because if you're avoiding, then you're not handling it. And, the thing is that we can be at a level 8, but because we've not ever learned how to recognize the first few levels of stress or panic or anxiety, we don't notice where we are until we're right in the thick of it. And by then it's too late to start to begin to pull it back, or it's more difficult for sure to begin to pull it back. So how do you handle those things? If you're in a situation in any of these things, the thing is no, it's not pleasant to look at it and you don't want to dwell on it. But what I tell people is, and I do this myself, is to give myself time. So if I'm having a bath, I might think about it or talk to the Lord about it out loud while I'm having my bath, just so that I can have that conversation, that prayer time. Or when I'm getting up and I'm getting ready for the day, washing my face, brushing my teeth, doing all of those things. Or while I'm cooking dinner, or something like that, where there's the opportunity to talk to the Lord and just tell him this is how I'm feeling, and I am stressed about it and I don't know what to do about it, but I don't want to dwell on it, so I'm looking for solutions. So if you can give me a solution, great. If you can bring somebody along that's going to bring me a solution or help me walk through it, that's great. Let me know what's coming my way so that I'm better prepared to handle it. And I'm not going to say that every single time that happens that he gives you, yeah, you're going to lose your job. But sometimes it'll be that, feeling a little discomfort here, going to move forward with what the Lord is doing in my life, right? The second question I have here is, when difficult situations arise, can you adapt your behavior based on what truly matters to you, rather than acting automatically or impulsively? No fight, no flight, no freeze, no fawning, no needing to be loved. So the reality is then, when something is happening, how do you respond? How do you react? Are you doing something that's going to benefit you, something that matters to you? Or are you going, well, it matters more to person A than it does to me, so I need to do what I need to do to make person A happy, because if person A is happy, then I'm happy. If I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, it's okay if I take the brunt of this so that that person gets away with it, then I'll do that. Don't make yourself a scapegoat, right? We need to look at this in a way that's going to grow you and enable you to walk out of the fear of the unknown. Because when you allow yourself to be pushed down, or for you to put other people ahead of yourself, what inevitably happens is you set yourself up to continually repeat that. But there's a resentment that will continue to grow inside of you because it just never turns out for you. And the reason it doesn't turn out for you is because you're always giving it away, right? And then there's that adapting your behavior. You know, does it make you angry? Do you come out punching and fighting and saying things you shouldn't say? Maybe your language gets a little bit foul. How do you respond? How do you react in a difficult situation, right? So those are things that are going to determine your path, your future, your movement forward, right? So that's how you know you're not doing as well as you could, is if you find yourself swearing, if you found yourself, trying to make somebody else happy, trying to do something that's really good for someone else instead of yourself. Those are some of the areas. How are you acting, right? If you're just stopping and going, well, I guess, well, things will just happen how they happen, and I'm just going to sit here and I'll deal with whatever happens after it happens. Again, that's showing me, and if that's your situation, you need to learn how to handle those things a little bit better. Question number 3 is, how often are you able to stay present and mindful rather than getting caught up in worries about the past or the future? Staying present and staying mindful. Being present isn't being in a room on your phone. Being present means that you're having an active, engaging conversation with somebody, or you're engaged at work. You're not getting distracted by your phone, again, to play games or to scroll or to try to find something, and you find yourself in a different, on a rabbit trail somewhere. Be present when you're having a conversation with people, your kids, your grandchildren, the people that you work with, your boss. Stay present. Be mindful. Be aware of how you're feeling. Be aware of how they're presenting. Being aware, being alert in the conversation, and not getting caught up in the fear of past failure, the fear of the future, what that could mean, not worrying about it excessively when you're lying down, trying to go to bed and trying to go to sleep. If you find yourself doing that in a situation you're in, it might be time to start to look for somebody to be able to help you learn how to better deal with your fear, with your anxiety, with your stresses, okay? And so that can mean a therapist. It can mean somebody who does inner healing work. It can mean maybe going to your doctor if it's something that's just something really small. Maybe you just need to have a friend that you can talk to. Okay, so it's just knowing and recognizing that you're not doing as well as you could be. Number 4 is, are you able to notice your thoughts as mental events, not facts, and let them come and go without being caught up in them, right? So your thoughts, just because you think a thought doesn't make it a fact. It means it's a thought. It's something that, and the enemy plays with our thoughts. He puts things in our mind so that when we find ourselves in certain situations, especially if we grew up in that fishbowl of chaos, we're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so the enemy is going to come along when you're 18, when you're 25, when you're 60, when you're 50, right? And it's going to speak these things into your mind. It's going to bring up all this stuff about, well, it's always worked out this way, and so I'm just waiting for the bad thing to happen. Well, it's a mental event. If you can just go, this is not fact. My thoughts are not fact. It does not mean that this is how it's going to happen. It means this is what I'm thinking, and I'm thinking it this way because of the things that I've been through in my life. And so if I don't want to stay here, I'm the one who has to change my thinking. Again, if you can't get out of it, give yourself 5 minutes to go down that road, then stop yourself and going, this is pointless because none of this is probably going to happen. And then back yourself up, put yourself in a situation where you invite the Lord into it, and then begin to pray about it. And if you need to find somebody to talk to, do so. Remember, letting those thoughts go is fine. They're going to jump on you every once in a while. You're going to find them bouncing around in your head every once in a while because it's what you've known. It's the path that you've carved out for yourself through the years. And so it's it's not going to stop automatically. It's not going to be a one-time fix and that's it. It's done. It's going, okay, so here's where I'm at currently. This is what I'm doing right this moment, but I don't want to have to stay here. So I can control my thoughts. I can bind my mind to the mind of Christ. I have the thoughts of Christ. That's what the Bible tells me, right? So because of that, then I can agree with that, and I can then begin to pray some scriptures. I can begin to take some steps that's going to lead me or land me in a more comfortable situation. And I don't mean just praying them or quoting them. I mean praying them. I mean taking the word of God and praying it through and going, yes, I agree with what God is saying in this situation, in this current thing with me right now. So I hope that's helpful. And then number 5 is, can you take action toward your values even when you're feeling anxious, sad, or stressed? So can you do something? Can you move toward what you hold as important? What is a value to you? If it's relationship with your spouse or your children, can you move in that direction so that those things are protected? You know, if it's about your integrity and somebody's lying about you, can you stand and go, I'm going to move things in the direction because my integrity is important. And I've recently had this happen actually in the last little while, last year actually, where because of what I do, I had kept confidence about something that had been told me, and I got into a whole lot of trouble because I didn't say anything. But the reality is I do it again, and I do it exactly the same way because it's important to me, because it's important to you. My not speaking what you tell me is important to you, and that makes it important to me. And if I can't be trusted, then what good am I? So it's events like that. It means looking at it and moving in the direction that's important to you. What do you value? I value the fact that people can trust me. So I'm not going to say anything. So can you take action toward your values even when you're feeling anxious, sad, or stressed? And there was some stress that came with that. And there was some fallout that happened because of it too. But can I be loving? Can you be loving? I can absolutely be loving. And I can absolutely be forgiving. And so on this side of it, it has turned out how it has turned out. But at the end of the day, I still love, I still respect, I still honor, I still protect, I still do all of those things. And so can you hold what you find of value in that moment and in their position? And the last thing is this: when you're feeling stuck or when you're feeling overwhelmed, do you have ways to create some mental distance and reconnect with the bigger perspective in your life? And this really is where prayer, Christ, the church, other believers, this is where this really comes into play. Family, whatever it is, what's your bigger picture? What is it, right? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're, how can you distance yourself just enough, not to shut it off, not to pretend it's not happening, none of those things, but so that you can reconnect to a bigger perspective. So that can mean becoming involved in the church, can mean sitting down and reading the Word of God, thinking about it, meditating on it, listening for His voice. It can mean all of those things. It can mean that you're going to do something good for yourself. It can mean that you're going to step away for a moment and you're going to, maybe take a trip with somebody, go do a massage, go do a spa day, go sit with somebody somewhere in some area, and you're going to have a conversation. You're not going to dwell on it. It might come and it might go. It might flow in and out of the conversation, but you're going to do something that's more important for you than dwelling on the bigness of the stress and the situation that you find yourself in. Again, some of these things may require that you might need somebody to talk to, and so don't ever be afraid to get therapy. Never be afraid to get some inner healing, because those things that happened to us when we were kids, we couldn't control any of it then, but we can now, and we can do something about it now. We can get the help we need so that we can become a healthier version of ourselves today, and so that we can better be prepared for the next time something comes along that we might not like. So I just want to say, be encouraged today. I thank you for paying attention. I thank you for watching these videos. I if you could, and I can't even remember the last time I said this, but if you could share, if you could like, if you could leave a comment, I appreciate all of that. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you're hearing this and you've liked what you've heard, we're going to be going into another topic from here on in. So be encouraged today. Have a great day.